So the first thing I want to talk about is I want to talk about Senator Phil Gramm and some of the comments that he made. As you remember, in the previous show we did a couple of months ago, we talked about Phil Gramm being the economic advisor for John McCain and how we were kind of concerned about that because of some of the things that he's done in the past and some of his, and now you can see based on some of his current philosophies that there might be an issue pertaining to his idea of what's going on in America. Now, Phil Gramm has said that Americans are in what they call a mental recession, that there really hasn't technically been a recession based on what they call a definition of a recession, but with hundreds of thousands of people out of jobs, with thousands of people every month losing their homes, an estimated 1 million people they're going to be foreclosed on, and with the struggles we're having with the unfair trade going on between Mexico and Canada and the United States and the outsourcing of jobs, I would think that Phil Gramm would have been a little bit more sensitive to the realities of what people are really experiencing. It's just not a mental state. People have lost their jobs. People are losing their homes. People have put money in banks that are failing. And him being a former senator in charge of the banking committee, a chairman of the banking committee, and also looking at what he's doing right now, which is like a president of some bank, some Swiss bank or whatever, he's a multi-millionaire. So I guess maybe, he knows better about these economic things. But the average everyday American like me and you who go to work every day, who do most of the living and dying in this country or whatever, we're having a hard time. With $4, for gas and food prices going up, not only in this country but over the world, I think that, it shows you really the mentality of a lot of these people in the political office. And I'm not necessarily saying it's always the Republicans, but this is dealing with the Republicans' perspective, that they think that everything is all good and dandy. And of course, if you're at the top of the feeding chain, you're getting your money off to the top. Of course it is. But for the everyday American like me and you, and especially those people within our communities, it says when the country has a cold, we have pneumonia. When you're talking about communities where you have economic downturn, you have communities where you have something between 18%, 19% unemployment rate among black men, maybe a little bit less than that for black women, somewhere between 12 to 14%. And not only that is that the rate going on in my particular neighborhood, but when you look around the country and you look around in some of these cities that are predominantly black people, we really are catching hell. And so to hear somebody talk about that and say those things, it tells you that they're missing some sense of reality. Now, the other comment he made is that America is a bunch of whiners and that we need to get back to being a competitive country again. Well, getting back to being competitive, I definitely agree with. I think that that's one of the most important things, that we be able to compete in the world. The problem is, are we competing on a fair and even field? I mean, some of the NAFTA provisions and things of that nature kind of don't work toward the advantage of America. So I wonder about that, and how do we, change our economy over just like that? These jobs that are in Detroit, GM is having a big issue again. They're going to be cutting back on certain benefits that they're paying their retirees, but they're going to then contribute another $300 into their retiree fund per person. So I mean, they have to do those things. I understand that, and I think the President Bush, and I'm not sure, I think he had made a comment that he wasn't willing to bail out GM, which is one of the major employees of people in the United States, which I can understand that. Here we go with another bank that has just failed, and there's like 90 more that's on the list that the possibility of them failing. And then here you go with Senator Phil Gramm, saying that we're in this mental recession. It's like if we have a mental condition that we can't recognize when banks turn us away and we can't get our money if you have deposits over $100,000. Like we don't recognize when plants close and they ship their products from overseas to sell in the United States. I mean, is that a mental reality? Of course it's a mental reality, okay? We're not making these things up. We're not imagining these things are happening. It's what's happening in this country, and we need to kind of come to grips to that, not necessarily blaming anybody, because when you have someone that has sat far out of lockstep with America, It's an issue. It's a problem. And it makes me wonder how far and out of step John McCain is with the America that we are experiencing right now. Okay?